Hey, what's up? It's Greg with How to Build Games. Today we're going to talk about finishing projects. 7 reasons why finishing one is more important than starting 100. Now, I know that's a bold claim, but stick with me. And I'm going to make this shorter than the last video where I went all off script. Number 1, it's easy and fun to start things, and it's hard to finish. Now, this doesn't apply just to programming, but that's the context here. New ideas are not bad. But if you just start projects and you never finish them, you're going to miss a large part of the puzzle. In programming, we have a saying, you have the first 90% and the last 90%, because that's what it feels like to get that last, all the little things done to try to ship a project and finish it and call it done. If you just move on when you get bored or you have another idea or things get difficult, what happens when you're working on a project that somebody's paying you for? Guess what your first instinct is going to be? To cut and run. Yeah, so get out of the habit if you're in it. And again, it's not bad to start things. You just got to find which one is the right one and focus on that to finish it. Number 2, some things only come up at the end of a project. Whether that's the little things you've been leaving to the end, like finishing up the UI or cleaning up the minor graphical issues, or the big things that you've been putting off, like those bugs that you keep seeing but you don't really want to dig in and find. If you never finish and publish your game, you're not going to run into those things. There's some things you're only going to find at the end. Number 3, you'll learn a lot in the process, if that process has a start and a finish. I found most of the time when I finish a project, when it's done, I say, all right, it's done. I could probably go back and do that same project over in half the time and it would be twice as good, because you learn so much about it over the course of doing it, and you learn a lot by sticking with it and pressing on through the hard parts. Number 4, it shows people that you don't give up when something is difficult or takes an extended effort to do. That gives you credibility with other game developers. People who publish games look on others who have published games with a certain amount of respect. It piques interest of potential employers. People who had apps in the App Store, even if they weren't the best looking apps, immediately rose to the top of the list when I was the co-founder of an app company and we were looking to bring in somebody else. When we started to look at hiring other programmers to bring in, the people that had already published an app, that already knew the App Store process for Apple and Google, they rose to the top of the list, the very top of the list. And everybody else had a huge disadvantage to those people, because I knew that they stuck with it. I knew that they were familiar with the process. I knew that this person had a 40-hour-a-week job and then on the side had enough motivation to go through the process, and it's not necessarily an easy process, or at least it wasn't back then, to get through all the certificates and all the App Store stuff and all that. So that was a huge advantage. Number 5, and I know I'm being inconsistent with the hands. That's part of the point. Real artists ship. I love this phrase. It's from Seth Godin's Linchpin. If you're not familiar with Seth Godin, he's a really neat guy. He talks about marketing stuff, but a very smart business guy. One of the few people that I really pay attention to when he talks, because he usually has something really good to say. So in his book Linchpin, he says, if you haven't shipped, you're not an artist yet. And you might be like, whoa, I thought this was programming. Well, I'm talking about programming too. If it's a thing you create from your brain to the screen, that's sort of like a piece of art. I mean, I fully agree with the idea that programming, making games, things like that, even not games, it's an art and a science. There's a balance there. But if you haven't published it for the world and put it out there, you've still got a ways to go. Pick a date, put it on the wall, and ship it. That's what motivated me to get my first game done, but I'll get back to that. Number 6, art is never finished, only abandoned, and that includes software. You're probably never going to be 100% satisfied with what you ship. You can always revisit it later, for the most part. You know, if it's Apple Store, Play Store, Steam, itch, whatever, even consoles, you can revisit it later, even if you don't ship it to a large audience, still. But at some point, you have to call it done and get it out the door. Get it into the public view, even if nobody sees it. It's still a huge accomplishment. One of my favorite quotes is, if you're not embarrassed by some aspect of what you just put out, you waited too long to ship it. Just like my first video. Yeah, which was too long. See what I did there? So, which is why I wrote a script, or at least bullet points, for this one. And number 7, waiting too long can hurt you. So I had a game about running over clowns that I published in 2011. It was my first really big personal project. It was my first, I'm going to learn Unity by making this big project that I've got in my brain, and bring this idea to life. It started out as just a name, Sparky the Road Clown, and which was like this clown that had kind of gone nuts, and I kind of pictured him maybe standing in the road screaming at cars, and it turned into this game where you could drive a car and either run over this clown or hit him with a big spinning hammer on top. I did publish it out to the App Store for iPhone and iPad in 2011, but that was after it had sat around for almost 9 months without me touching it, and then I picked it back up and finished it. Reading Lynchpin, talking about real artists ship, and deciding I really needed it to get it out the door, and people have been asking about it. It did okay, but it would have done a lot better if I'd finished it and shipped it a year earlier when I abandoned it, because there was less stuff in the App Store at the time. It would have been, it would have looked better compared to other things at the time as well, and less competition is good. I have too many projects that I haven't finished that I should have published years ago, and it's apps and games that I still go back and use. I still go back and play and go, I really should finish this up and let other people see this. So don't make the same mistakes that I have. Especially if you publish early and people know you're actively working on it, though early access is, kind of a dirty word sometimes. There's going to be a lot more grace for mistakes and things that aren't in there yet, because they know you're working on it. That said, I've published a bunch of projects, personal and professional, and I'm glad I did. There's nothing like bringing an idea to life for yourself or other people. To go from a name or an idea in your head to a screen where people can play it and everybody wants to gather around and see, that's incredible. There's nothing like that, and that's why I do what I do. So be encouraged. People want to see what you're working on. Yes, you. Whatever it is. I might even go so far as to say that people need to see, need to play what you're working on. So like I talked about in my first video, you're going to have a unique vision and a unique experience and unique gameplay that nobody else does, because it's shaped by your life experiences and filters that you see the world through. Somebody out there is waiting to play your game. They just don't know it yet. So let's change that. So that is 7 reasons why finishing one project is more important than starting 100. Please stay tuned for What's Greg Playing and What's Greg Working On. So this is Wynncraft. This is a Minecraft MMORPG. And you might be a little skeptical, like I was, but it's actually not bad. The tutorial is a little iffy, but once you get in, so I'm already logged in. You go to get started, you go to Minecraft, regular, 1.15 or whatever. Put in play.wynncraft.com as shown there in your multiplayer server, and it shows up. You pick a server, pick a class, and now I am in the game. So you've got inventory, you've got crafting, you've got ingredients, you've got different things that you find. You've got all sorts of people talking about different things. Lots of, if you've customized your skin, that shows up in here. Go down here a little bit. All the different people. But these are all other people who play it. Well, I mean, that's an NPC. But you've got shops. You've got, sword shop. You've got a bank over here. And you go out into the world. Nope, this is a chest that I can get stuff from. So I'm going to do that. I can talk to this guy. You talk by right-clicking, which unfortunately is the same way that the archers attack. But that's okay. So now I'm out in the world. All the guys with the red like that are enemies. As an archer, I've got some spells that I can shoot a whole bunch of arrows at once. So it's a neat little game. I mean, it's not World of Warcraft, you know, but I mean, it does have quests, it does have crafting, it does have all the basic kind of things you would expect. You've got XP, you've got skills you can level up. You know, there are dungeons and things like that to dig into. Like I said, different merchants. It's kind of neat. So let me show you one other thing real quick. Go ahead and disconnect. So yeah, the only thing you have to do, tell it to allow server resource packs enabled. Other than that, play.wynncraft.com, like I said. The other cool thing, though, you can come over here and go to the map. And as you'll see, party members and friends and guild members and all that. I haven't messed with that. I'm not sure if you have to log into the website or what. But it's a pretty big map. So I think that's the main town where you start. I've only played this a few days. But there is a lot of other stuff. You know, there's level 90 area. Over here you've got, you know, a level, you know, 110 area. I was in, you know, I think my character's level 10 or 15, something like that. So, you know, if you like Minecraft, and I do, I got a Minecraft account in 2010 for roughly $15 in euros back then, and I've played it off and on ever since. I really like Minecraft. Like I said, it's not, if you're used to really polished MMOs, this may not be your thing. It's not super polished. They're working within the constraints of Minecraft, but it's still pretty fun. Thanks for watching today's edition of What's Greg Playing. Welcome to this edition of What's Greg Working On. So today and recently, I've been working on some video tutorials to help people learn Unity from scratch. Now, I know there's a lot of good stuff out there already, but I did a series of videos in 2013, and a lot of people, it really brought some breakthrough for people that had not been able to understand a lot of the stuff before. I know there's a lot of good content out there, but some of it skips steps, some of it assumes too much. So this is a very simple scene that I've made to move the player character around this orange cube with the arrow keys, run into some things. We got some basic physics, wacky Unity physics as always, some immovable objects there, the red ones. Eventually this orange character will move around and eat the different things. So I did a series of videos back in 2013 on this channel that, like I said, were very popular, but they were all done with Unity 4.3, and so they are really, really, really outdated. The core concepts are the same, but some of the things, a lot of stuff changed between Unity 4 and Unity 5, so the videos are just not what they need to be anymore. So I had a series that I did earlier this year called the 5-Day Game Challenge, which was meant to take somebody from knowing nothing to being able to having finished several games over the course of 5 days. But like I talked about earlier in this video, when I was done with it, I looked back and thought I could have done some things better. So this scene is the beginning of that, where I'm redoing some of the content. I'm going to take some of the other content that was in there and keep that as is. But some of the things I thought, I could have started over. I could have started people out a little bit simpler. So that's what I'm doing here. Simple objects, simple script that is just, inside an update, get the key, move the object that script's attached to and that key. If you've done any Unity, you're familiar with that. But I just want people to be able to learn from scratch. I'm taking all the 5-day game challenge content, which is currently all behind a paywall, between $19 and $99. And I'm taking all the video content and going to be putting that free on YouTube once I get it kind of reworked a little bit to be a little bit better, where I'm happy with, okay, this is how to start. So that's what I'm working on right now. Thanks for watching. As always, if you have questions or comments or disagree with me or think my thumbnail is really ugly like this one guy in the game dev group on Facebook did, just tell me in the comments. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, want to see more content like this. You can also subscribe. That's a good thing. Let me know. So thanks for tuning in. Catch you next week.